It's a lovely good evening and welcome to Camnet TV Main News. To present, my name is Jeffrey Yambo. Top stories in the news tonight. Government confirms President Edgar Lungu experienced dizziness at the 45th Defense Day. British government concerned with high levels of violence in Zambia. PF cadres vow not to allow UPND campaign materials in CHAWAMA constituency. And in international news, low turnout as Algerians vote in parliamentary election. And in sports, 2012 AFCON skipper gets FA's appointment.
Zambia has embarked on an economic journey for individual financial emancipation, empowering its citizens through land acquisition and developing the nation through agriculture. This time, Zambians are coming together, taking it upon themselves with the help of government to develop this great nation by taking individual responsibility and ownership of this great nation. The economic revolution has started. There are thousands of Zambians with a can-do mindset who are resolute, unstoppable, full of confidence and conviction that Zambia's set time of favor for development is now. Don't be left out. This could be the time you have been waiting for. Camnet Television, in conjunction with the United Agrivision Consultancy Limited, will be hosting a national conference on becoming a millionaire through agriculture. Date 1st October and 2nd October 2021. Charges 750 kwacha per person per day, that includes lunch. A limited number of participants through Zoom have also been reserved. You can also be part of the conference from the comfort of your home by registering online via Zoom, joining the people who were born for greatness. Charges for participation via Zoom are only 300 kwacha per person. Time 0730 hours to 17 hours. Registration and confirmation of attendance will take place on the 29th of September 2021. Time 14 hours to 17 hours. Venue the Healing Word Ministries International, the home of Camnet Television in Abex Hill, Kabulonga Road, Lusaka.
Hello once again, the news in detail. The Resident Doctors Association of Zambia has expressed disappointment at the use of their deceased member, Dr. Abigail Mulenga's photo, who died on the 24th of August 2020 on a Patriotic Front PF political advert. The association says it is wrong to use their dead colleague without the consent of the family. A Resident Doctors Association of Zambia Vice President Dr. Kenley Chisanga says the use of Dr. Abigail Mulenga's photo on political adverts goes against the ethics of their noble profession. The association has since demanded an immediate withdrawal of Dr. Abigail Mulenga's photo from all political adverts and a public apology to the family for what the association describes as an inhuman and insensitive act. But in a statement to the media, PF Secretary General Davis Miller has distanced his party from the political advert, saying it was not sanctioned by any of the media centers or teams of the Patriotic Front. Mr. Miller says the party has reported the matter to the police to help establish if the poster was made in a malicious and criminal manner to deliberately soil the image of the Patriotic Front party and attempt to cause public anger against it. President Edgar Lungu's handlers have informed the nation that he experienced sudden dizziness while officiating at the 45th Defense Force Day commemoration and investiture ceremony. President Edgar Lungu's principal private secretary and secretary to the cabinet have both confirmed the development, following concerns from the Zambian community that the head of state had collapsed at the ceremony. The two state that the head of state immediately recovered from the ordeal and walked straight to his official car and returned to State House without concluding his official duties. In a statement to Camnet TV News, Dr. Miti assured Zambians and the international community that the president is well and has continued discharging his duties as the head of state and commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Meanwhile, President Lungu was later seen fishing at State House fish ponds while seated in a chair where he accused the opposition of being behind their continued violence. The president was responding to a question from a ZNBC crew who sought his opinion on the escalating levels of violence in the build-up to the 12th August 2021 elections. President Edgar Lungu has, however, warned that if the Electoral Commission of Zambia and the Zambia police fail to act, he will be forced to act because he has abundant powers at his disposal.
They are multi-layered and very effective for all teams artillery operations. That is the equipment that is driving us, Your Excellency. The 122 BM multi-barrel rocket launcher are being followed by 130.
There is a time for the opposition to come replicate the events in Malawi for that election. But we won't allow them to do that. They would like to play the people against the police. In the end, replicate the Malawi fiasco. You know, they're playing with the courts, you know, every other 10 court this, court that. But we know what's going on, and you know, I'm still in charge of this country, up to the 12th when I get the freshman head. And if the rules and the laws in place not respected by those who are charged with responsibility, I have my own laws, which are given to me by the Zambian Constitution. If the ECZ can't do their part, the police can't do their part. In the Constitution, if you look carefully, I have power which I can invoke any time. And don't push me against that vote. Yeah. Thank you very much. Already say, each one of us has got laws applicable to him. The ministries of government, local government ministry, Ministry of Health, the Zambia Police, we all have our mandate in different ministries that is given by law. And I'd like to believe that ECZ also have what they are mandated in this respect. But if everything else doesn't work, because people think we are playing games with COVID-19, I still say, and I say it again, that I have power to use certain powers in the Constitution. And I think I don't want to allow people don't want to listen to the need to stay apart, social distance, mask, sanitize, and so on. There is a law. Go and read. I don't want to be saying things which you say, no, I don't think about it. You don't think. Let's just respect the rules of local government ministry, the rules of Zambia police, the rules of the Ministry of Health. The numbers are rising. And the percentage now is what? 17% now. And people are dying in homes and in hospitals and so on. And yet want to play with this. I will not allow myself to participate in these games. So if they cannot stick to the rules because there is campaigns and so on, there's always a way of sorting out the campaign issues. You just go and vote on the 12th. You can't use television, you can't use other channels. You have to stop people from gathering in the manner that they are doing.
The leadership movement has charged that the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, and the Zambia police have not done enough to level the political playing field in this campaign period. Party National Chairman David Kalumba says the electoral body must ensure that all political parties must be helped to have access to the public media. And Mr. Kalumba says the police must also be fair by ensuring that all political parties are given space to mobilize voters ahead of the August 12 general election. He made the remarks when he unveiled the party's parliamentary candidate in CHAWAMA constituency, Ntazana Musukuma.
The Electoral Commission to go a step further. They have done a tremendous job, but would want them to go a step further where they can give instruction that each and every political player is covered in this election by means of accessing the national broadcasting, which has a wide coverage. And on the police, we would want them to continue maintaining peace, but they should not be choosy, they should not be biased, okay? We want them to treat each and every political party equally. There shouldn't be any favoritism here, okay? We are all in this battle and we all want to go to plot one. So let's respect democracy and also let's respect the rule of law. Let's be fair to one another. You know, politics are here because of the people. If there were no people, there cannot be politics.
You find that poverty is very much visible We have senior citizens walking barefoot. We have youths that wake up not knowing where to go, not knowing what to touch, not knowing how to live. That is not right. In the end, they end up abusing kachasu, usunko, marijuana, junta, and so on and so forth. A situation which now leads into them becoming majanki. And we start saying, oh, majanki, forgetting that ujanki weka weka is a product of bad governance. Because there are no programs for these youths that have been put in place. We end up having majanki. Ujanki, it's largely due to frustration. Here is a youth who is 30 years old, but can't even get married because he has no resources to support a wife. That is the situation. I'm on the ground.
The ruling Patriotic Front in CHAWAMA has charged that there is no UPND in CHAWAMA because the people are satisfied with the PF performance in government. Patriotic Front self-proclaimed National Commander Innocent Kalimanshi has told Camnet TV News that there are no UPND campaign materials in the streets and that the PF is having a field day as they conduct door-to-door campaigns. He has since cautioned the UPND against conducting a roadshow in the area. But when reached for a comment, UPND CHAWAMA constituency parliamentary candidate Potiphar Tembo accused the PF of using its cadres to pull down UPND campaign materials. He says the PF will be shocked if they continue underrating the UPND in CHAWAMA.
The roadshow in CHAWAMA for the UPND was scheduled to be held on Sunday, 13th June 2021, but it has been pushed to Tuesday this week as guided by the police. But a check in Lusaka's CHAWAMA constituency found that there are no materials such as posters for the UPND candidate. This journalist was prompted to visit one of the PF camps led by self-proclaimed PF National Commander Innocent Kalimanshi. He told this journalist that there is no UPND in the area, claiming that people are happy with the PF performance in government, adding that the people are being persuaded to join the ruling party to give the PF candidate Tasila LUNGU a sound victory on the 12th of August 2021.
Musonge kufunela isizeti balangiwe kutwala rishuko kwa isizeti kemisango balangiwe ngabati kwa kwa president even peaceful campaign twala ko ngamala mulali funecha bantu chali wa mamuchalo na mweko ngamala muno na discipline la kuna kwa discipline na love ilesa twala ko nkofubale bomba na kuomba dali nefe kwa ishiriko ko bati kwa laba makampeni ya 2021 twalitanda nakajana abandi. So ifunde lesa mfuma ishabantu olende kwati background to senda kale so kuno commission ni mwani CHAWAMA kwambira ako mwatufumira yo commission fika pano asiyana mwana material ya IP so fyo nshilo ko bati CHAWAMA kwati bakapunda 89 hours ishi Tasila lukwasi,
claiming that they have no members in the area, hence it will be illogical for them to import people.
So it's what the for CHAWAMA, the fire is like what you have to have CHAWAMA. About what teach by Savamon about time. It's not much by Savamon. No matter Tapudi. Why am I not finish about 2 days and later? Always not rest of the issue. Chong much by so today, Romba Kuriba Ikainde. Nama members were about UPND. Kuno Takwaba UPND. Prochama Takwa UPND. But in our case, if you go back to Ben, I will go back and then what to the chongo in Africa. You could have a special place and then you are at the chongo. Munganda Munis. When I shishi the finger for an which Papa program.
Potiphar Tembo has accused the PF of pulling down their campaign materials.
If they're getting into the race with directing people, they will be shocked. On the 12th of August, because we are dealing with the real people. While they are dealing with the streets, intimidating people and removing people's posters, The people of CHAWAMA are not interested in that politics. They already know who they will vote for. So let them continue with the street politics of intimidation, removing people's posters. But come 12 August, they'll be shocked.
He says they have resorted to door-to-door campaign to persuade people using their developmental agenda of easing the cost of living when voted into office.
That within 48 hours of being in office, CADRES will disappear in CHAWAMA. They will not be seen anymore. Because we have zero tolerance on thuggery in the name of cadreism. Within 48 hours, they will disappear at Snow White, at Kwamboka, at Embers, at Kuku. The streets will be clean. Those that are employable will give them jobs.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
A social scientist, Innocent Kolala, has challenged politicians to explain how they intend to fulfill the pledges they are making when voted into office. Speaking to Camnet News, Mr. Kolala says political rhetoric must not be entertained in this year's election. He has since called on the electorate to demand that politicians inform them how they will facilitate their developmental agenda. Mr. Kolala says issue-based politics is vital to help people make informed decisions on the 12th of August 2021.
All the politicians, all the players, for example, the candidates, this is the time they are supposed to be coming to us to be telling us what they are planning to come and do in 5 years' time. But alas, to this fact, this is not what is normally obtaining in most political parties, even in most candidates. What we are seeing is just name calling. What we are hearing is just character assassination. What we are hearing is, no, we are going to do this. We are going to make sure that we mend the country in the manner it's supposed to be done. We are going to make sure that we continue where we have reached, without tabulating exactly what they are going to do. And sadly, even as Zambian people, what we are now following is just the wind. We are just hearing the vehicles with all those mautas, beep, 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 beep. No, this, then we are following and we are saying this is the person we are supposed to support, or this is the political party we are supposed to support, without hearing from them what they are going to do. To this effect, I'm appealing to my fellow electorates. I'm appealing to the Zambian people. Let's put these politicians to task. All those who are seeking for any political office, let them come to us and explain what they are planning to come and do, what they are going to offer to us for this 5 years mandate period which we are going to give them.
British Ambassador to Zambia, Nicholas Woolley, has urged stakeholders in the electoral process to take a strong stand against violence in this year's elections. The country has been witnessing isolated incidents of political violence during the campaign period ahead of the 12th August 2021 general elections. And the British envoy ghastly underscored the need to uphold the rule of law by denouncing violence in order to have credible polls in line with democratic principles.
It's a very important point, and absolutely it's fundamental that respect of freedom of expression is preserved, and that violence, a very strong stand is taken against violence. It's important for all stakeholders, whether that's ourselves or political leaders, whoever they may be, community leaders, to take a very strong stand and call out violence in all its forms. It's important that a level playing field is provided for all political parties to campaign. We have seen recent restrictions necessitated by the fact that Zambia is now in a third wave of the COVID pandemic. But as I said at the start of the campaign, it's vital that any rules that are, or restrictions that are applied to campaigning are applied evenly across all political parties.
The Zambian Institute of Governance and Civil Liberties Advocacy Platform, ZIG Club, Chief Executive Officer Francis Chipeli has condemned the violence taking shape in most parts of the country. In an interview, Mr. Chipeli explains that Zambia has no space for violence, adding that people should strive to sell their party manifestos and not throwing stones at their opponents. He has cited the incident in LUNGU and the one in Lusaka recently as some of the cases that should not be repeated. Meanwhile, Mr. Chipili has called on the police to ensure that their presence is felt whenever politicians are holding their events to avoid any chance of recording violence.
Highly immoral for politicians to disrespect the sacredness of life. We've seen citizens being injured. It's immoral for politicians to hinge their campaign on the shed of blood. It's important that politicians stop the blame game. We are appealing, as an institute, we are appealing to all the politicians from the political divide to publicly denounce and instruct their cadres to stop immediately the perpetration of political violence. We cannot develop a country amid this confusion. We know some politicians, they want to use political violence as a strategy to propel them to forming government or continue forming, ruling the country, but that's not the way that it's supposed to be done. Politics is supposed to be a battle for ideas and not physical hindering of each other, using the underprivileged to perpetrate violence while the children of the politicians remains at home. It's very important that we continue to maintain peace in our country. The peace that we've continued to enjoy must be preserved by all costs, and as such, all politicians must own up and not engage in any forms of a blame game, because blame game won't solve the problem. The politicians must demonstrate leadership by ensuring that they condemn and instruct their cadres to stop immediately the perpetration of this violence. Zambia is well positioned, and so any form of violence will just disrupt the gains that we have attained economically, politically, and socially. We need to build on the successes that we have attained, and this cannot be attained through violence. So we are appealing to the police IG, to the Inspector General of Police, to ensure that it deploys enough police personnel across the country to ensure that wherever there are campaigns, wherever there are road shows, the police presence is felt.
Zambia's High Commissioner to India, Judith Kapijimpanga, has urged investors to be environmentally sensitive as they invest in Zambia. Mrs. Kapijimpanga added that there was no need to continue with a business as usual attitude, but concerted effort by all stakeholders to play an active role in ecosystem restoration. Mrs. Kapijimpanga praised India for promoting ecosystem restoration through initiatives such as Green India, Clean Energy, Swak Bharat Abhiyan, Clean Ganga Mission, National Air Quality Index NACI, toilets before temples, and water conservation. She was speaking in New Delhi, India, during the Indian Council for Human Rights ICCR virtual celebration of the World Environment Day, the United Nations principal vehicle for encouraging awareness and action for the protection of the environment. Mrs. Kapijimpanga said the Zambia Environmental Management Agency, ZEMA, had adopted the ecosystem-based adaptation approaches that will complement solutions to address effects of climate change.
Zambia believes that the Sustainable Development Goals and the Paris Agreement on Climate Change are the most powerful manifestations yet of the global recognition that economic growth and poverty reduction can no longer be achieved at the expense of environmental degradation. The Zambia Environmental Management Agency, ZEMA, has adopted the ecosystem-based adaptation approaches that will complement solutions to address effects of climate change. Some of the interventions initiated by Zambia to restore the degraded ecosystems back to life include tree planting, cleaning up of riverbanks, discouraging the single use of plastics.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news.
2021 has been described as a highly politically charged year. This is because every 5 years the country goes to the polls, and that 5 years elapses With only a few months remaining down to the ballot, the battlefield to appear on the ballot is becoming fertile. A lot of people are expressing interest of appearing on the ballot.
In all this, our interest is to put the duty bearers, the leaders, and those aspiring to task by asking the relevant questions.
If you're an aspiring candidate, be it councillor, mayor, or member of parliament, get in touch with us to get yourself on the verdict.
We go beyond speculation in dealing with policy and governance issues. The right questions are asked to help you make a verdict.
For more details, you can call us on 0962 965883, 0979 753010, or email us info@camnettvafrica.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Join us on Camnet TV
every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 17:45 hours
on a new program dubbed The Verdict.
Remember that Camnet TV is not just another channel.
President EDGAR Chagwa Lungu and the Patriotic Front have transformed the transportation sector by facilitating the construction of bus stations around the country. Vote for EDGAR Chagwa Lungu and the PF that have brought you change.
In this fast-paced era of industrial boom and population growth, there is need to invest in smart ways of managing electricity and water consumption and reducing utility billing costs associated with the postpaid billing system. At Savenda Electronics, we manufacture right here in Zambia different types of high-quality smart electricity and water meters to customer specifications. Savenda Electronics water and electricity meters help you monitor your usage and gives notifications such as low units, tampering, low battery, and many other features. These easy-to-use meters makes it easier to buy units even in these COVID times and top up just from the comfort of your space. Favorable contract terms are available to both electricity and water utilities. For more details, get in touch with us on the following numbers: 0956 580 349 or 0977 498 318. Savenda Electronics, the real deal.
At Master Signs, our services range from outdoor, indoor signage such as billboards, banners, 3D light boxes, pylons and neon signs. We are located at plot number 397A, Makeni Road, Lusaka, at Oryx Filling Station. For more details, call us on +260 967 100 090 or +260 966 999 981, or better still, email us at infomastersign@gmail.com. Master Sign, we will make it shine.
Welcome back. Some stakeholders have expressed concern that government's continued focus only on the COVID-19 is affecting service delivery on other diseases such as HIV. The Treatment Advocacy Literacy Program, TAUC, has observed that issues of drug stockout have affected persons living with HIV as they are being compelled to frequent health centers. TAUC Executive Director Felix Mwanza adds that lack of information on how the COVID-19 has affected HIV service delivery is another challenge they are facing.
In Zambia at the moment, there are no studies on the impact of the COVID-19 on people living with HIV. However, people living with HIV and have achieved viral load suppression are just as affected as anyone. The Treatment Advocacy and Literacy Campaign, TAUC, has appealed to people living with HIV to adhere to treatment. Speaking during a media science cafe, Mesika Engagement, TAUC National Coordinator Felix Mwanza has however noted that the COVID-19 has come with new challenges.
Okay, people living with HIV continue to being subjected to a lot of hardships. Okay, and one of the hardships at the moment is the stocking out of certain drugs like TLE. You know that at the moment we do not have adequate TLE drugs. That itself has actually caused a lot of panic. Months in advance, in some cases, are being given just probably for 1 month, and in some cases 2 weeks meaning that most of the time they have to come back to the health facility. That in itself is an abrogation on the part of the government, because instead of this particular person spending his or her productive hours elsewhere, they will be at the health facility wanting to collect that particular medication.
Mr. Mwanza explains that underlying illnesses such as diabetes, hypertension, and tuberculosis, among others, are contributing to fatalities among people living with HIV and the general population.
In certain cases, do also apply to some, and this is in as far as access to information. Okay, we are yet to do some comparative studies in as far as the impact of COVID-19 is concerned on people living with HIV. There are other situations, like for instance being robbed of economic opportunities, because of the effects of COVID-19 on people living with HIV.
And TAUC Treatment Literacy Officer Owen Mulenga notes with concern that HIV is not being prioritized due to focus on COVID-19.
So there's a lot of emphasis. Concentration has gone much to the COVID-19, neglecting other diseases. And also, it has affected, so in HIV it has affected from the test up to treatment. There's a lot of effect. Linked to treatment has gone down due to that people have not been tested. So those are the issues. Also the retention to treatment has been poor, because we taught people in the first place that stay home and stay safe. People are fearing to go to the clinic because they are fearing that that's where the congestion is, and you can get infected with HIV, with the COVID-19, I mean.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News. In Zambia at the moment, there are no studies.
The Zambia National Men's Network for Gender and Development has commended His Royal Highnesses Chief Kapatamoyo of Chipata, Senior Chief Mukumbi of Kalumbila, and Chief Kabechimpanga of Solwezi for hosting the gender-based violence and masculinity training of head men and head women from their chiefdoms as anti-GBV champions to fight gender-based violence. Network Coordinator Nelson Banda says the interest taken by their Royal Highnesses in the fight against GBV is commendable and encouraging. Mr. Banda says their personal attachment to the training of headmen and head women in handling of GBV-related cases is an indication of their commitment to eradicate all forms of violence against women and girls in their areas. United Party for National Development UPND Deputy National Youth Chairman Trevor Mwinde has urged youths across the country to refrain from violent activities. Speaking to Camnet TV in an interview, Mr. Mwinde says young people must instead direct their energies to more productive areas instead of fighting one another. Mr. Mwinde says violence only breeds retardation in terms of development. He adds that violence only brings about division in the country.
To realize that the posters, the Chitenge materials of our party president here in Mfue constituency in Muchinga province, they are being stolen time and again. So I do believe now that we have vindicated the Zambians. My fellow youth here we have traveled with from all the way from Lusaka and reaching here. We have now been vindicated as UPND. We were saying the Patriotic Front government and its policies are not pro-poor. These are policies that which are only aimed at ostracizing this country, destroying this country, till the country can be or go into oblivion. One of the key aspects of what we are talking about is munaona Mazambians mwalimu enefi achitike tepako yabati mbitwala milondo lefingi, the violence that which happened at the PF Secretariat, where one of their youths' vehicle was vandalized and he was beaten. They have now brought it in the constituencies.
New Labour Party leader Fresha Siwale has advised government to balance its developmental agenda between citizens and infrastructure. Mr. Swale says it will be meaningless for government to continue boasting about infrastructure development when it is doing little to invest in its own citizens, especially the youth. He says youths are in need of skills that will sustain them and ultimately benefit the entire nation. Speaking to Camnet TV in an exclusive interview, Mr. Swale charged that it is hard for Zambia to develop to its full potential if majority citizens are not empowered with much needed knowledge and skills.
Are we really developing this country? Are we on the right path to develop this country? Because you cannot build a house proudly whilst your children are starving. You cannot be buying cars whilst your children are not going to school. You cannot be buying expensive furniture in the house whilst your children are naked and they have no confidence about tomorrow. When you die, how are they going to inherit what they don't know? The responsibility of every government, every administration in government, is to invest in its citizens to acquire knowledge and skill to optimize and maximize the use of the land. Are we seeing our children being equipped with the knowledge and skill to embark on national development? Let me give you an example. The much talked about Kazungula Bridge. Yes, it is beautiful. But the question is, how many Zambian engineers were part of that? How many Zambian engineers acquired that skill so that they can also build another bridge of that magnitude? None. So is that development? Can we celebrate that development? We can't. Let's look at the Chirundu Bridge. For your own information, the Chirundu Bridge was built by Japanese students. Japanese students from a university came and built Chirundu Bridge. How many of our engineers can build the Chirundu Bridge? None.
This is Camnet TV Main News. We'll take another break. We'll be back with international and sports news.
Zambia has embarked on an economic journey for individual financial emancipation, empowering its citizens through land acquisition and developing the nation through agriculture. This time, Zambians are coming together, taking it upon themselves with the help of government to develop this great nation by taking individual responsibility and ownership of this great nation. The economic revolution has started. There are thousands of Zambians with a can-do mindset who are resolute, unstoppable, full of confidence and conviction that Zambia's set time of favor for development is now. Don't be left out. This could be the time you have been waiting for. Camnet Television, in conjunction with the United Agrivision Consultancy Limited, will be hosting a national conference on becoming a millionaire through agriculture. Date 1st October and 2nd October 2021. Charges 750 kwacha per person per day, that includes lunch. A limited number of participants through Zoom have also been reserved. You can also be part of the conference from the comfort of your home by registering online via Zoom, joining the people who were born for greatness. Charges for participation via Zoom are only 300 kwacha per person. Time 0730 hours to 17 hours. Registration and confirmation of attendance will take place on the 29th of September 2021. Time 14 hours to 17 hours. Venue the Healing Word Ministries International, the home of Camnet Television in Apex Hill, Kabulonga Road, Lusaka.
I was born in Mwengwa in a grass-thatched house. I went to school barefoot and then to secondary school, university camp, all of these on government bursary, on the sponsorship of the people of Zambia. Many people ask me questions. Why have you continued to seek public office? You've been arrested 15 times. This fight is not about Hakainde. It's about 18 million Zambians who want a better life. I'm standing for the presidency of this country because I know And I believe that this country is so rich and yet its people live in poverty. I am standing for that child to have an opportunity to go to school the way I did myself. It's time for change. Zambians have suffered enough. I'm Hakainde H. Lema. I invite you to take my hand. Together, we will build a better land for every Zambian.
Every day for me means hard work. Going to sell my goods at the local market. To get more customers, I have my secret. Oracle Pure Glycerin. It's soft, smooth, and keeps my skin perfect. And my customers know it. Thank you, Oracle, for my perfect skin.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962-642-490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
International Airport, located just 15 kilometers from the Victoria Falls, is now one of the best and busiest airports that Zambia has. Vote for EDGAR LUNGU and the PF that have brought you change.
Welcome back. It's now time for international news. In international news, Algerians are voting in the first parliamentary election since mass protest forced President Abdulaziz Bouteflika to step down 2 years ago. Parties that are pro-Algerian President Abdelmajid Tebboune have urged people to show up in huge numbers for Saturday's parliamentary vote. Algerians remain widely skeptical about reforms promised by the president. The protest movement that galvanized the nation in 2019 against the ruling class is now calling for a boycott.
A crucial test for the legitimacy of President Abdelmajid Tebboune, who was elected after mass protests forced out President Abdelaziz Bouteflika 2 years ago. His government has been asking people to show up in huge numbers for Saturday's parliamentary vote. Its biggest concern, a lower turnout that could further deepen the country's political crisis. Algerians remain widely skeptical about reforms promised by the president. The protest movement that galvanized the nation in 2019 against the ruling class is now calling for a boycott.
There are some people or parties trying to impose their dictates on us without us knowing who they represent. Not just one person, two, or groups can impose their dictates on 45 million Algerians. The people wanted elections, and today we see the turnout for them.
Tebboune's most pressing task is to revive an economy battered by a decline in oil revenues, corruption, and COVID-19. He wants to restore confidence in a government tarnished by decades of corruption.
For the country to keep going and to improve our situation, we have to help each other with good deeds.
Algeria's president recently told Al Jazeera his country was run for many years by what he called a kleptocracy. But despite his assurances to crack down on mismanagement, many on the streets still insist the ruling elite should go. Opposition parties such as the Secular Socialist Forces Front, or FFS, and the Rally for Culture and Democracy are boycotting the election. Both parties are popular in the northern Kabylie region a focal point of dissent. The decades-long governing parties, the National Liberation Front, FLN, and National Democratic Rally, RND, could lose support. The Conservative Bina Party and the Movement of Society for Peace, or MSP, are braced to expand their political influence, according to analysts. But whoever comes to power will face the daunting task of convincing Algerians that change has come. Hashim Al-Barra, Al Jazeera.
Israeli lawmakers are to vote Sunday on a change coalition government of bitter ideological rivals, united by their determination to banish Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu from power.
Naftali Bennett is a multi-millionaire and former tech entrepreneur. The son of U.S.-born parents, the former Special Forces commando sold his startup for $145 million in 2005 and ventured into politics and the Likud party the following year. He served as Benjamin Netanyahu's chief of staff until 2008. In 2012, Bennett rose to the head of the nationalist Jewish Home Party and has since made no secret of his desire to become the Israeli right's new leading figure. He served as Minister of Defense, Education, and Economy under various Netanyahu governments, despite their strained relations. Heading Yamina, a right-wing alliance, Bennett holds a more liberal stance on gay rights and secularism than some of his former allies on the religious right. He's an advocate of liberalizing the economy, but expanding settlements and annexing much of the West Bank have arguably been the center of his political platform.
I believe I'm the only one, and our party is the only party on this podium that opposes founding a Palestinian state within the land of Israel, between the Jordan and the Mediterranean.
But with his new coalition for change, Naftali Bennett is not expected to implement his political agenda, at least not for the time being. The right-wing man, who has long refused to form a government with centrist Yair Lapid, is now set to head their unprecedented unity government, with parties ranging from the hard right to the far left and an Arab party, the first to join an Israeli government.
It's now time for sports news. In sports news, former Chipolo Polo captain Christopher Katongo has been appointed member of the national team technical subcommittee. The 2012 Africa Cup of Nations winning skipper joins the 6-member team that will be chaired by FAR's Northern Province chairperson Mwansaka Pyanga, with FAR's Western Province chairperson David Simwinga appointed vice chairperson. Former national team coaches Fred Mwila and Kenel Brighto Banda, Kawa Youth Soccer Academy proprietor Mwansa Mutangama, and Zafka representatives complete the list. The Youth Football Subcommittee will be led by FAR's Muchinga Province Chairperson Collins Mukwala, Kabaso Kapambwe Vice Chairperson, with Lusaka Province Youth Representative Danny Katongo, Northwestern Province Youth Representative Brian Sakulenga, Emmanuel Chingende, John Chirwa, and Lusaka Province Women's Representative Belinda Chisanga completing the membership. All the three subcommittees feed into the Football Development Committee that will be chaired by FAR's President Andrew Kamanga, while Deputy Secretary to the Cabinet Patrick Kangwa is the Vice Chairperson. The 6 members are Kenel Katoba, Kapyanga, Kafio Celtic proprietor Lee Kawanu Mukwala, Ndola-based administrator Andre Ntine, and Zafka representatives. That sporting item brings us to the end of the news, but before we go, we'll take a look at the headlines once again. Government confirms President Edgar Lungu experienced dizziness at the 45th Defense Day. British government concerned with high levels of violence in Zambia. PF cadres vow not to allow UPND campaign materials in CHAWAMA constituency. And in international news, low turnout as Algerians vote in parliamentary election. And in sports news, 2012 AFCON skipper gets FAR's appointment. The Camnet word verse of the day is coming from the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 25 to 27, and it reads, "So that there would be no division in the body, but that the members would have the same concern for each other. So if one member suffers, all the members suffer with it. If one member is honored, all the members rejoice with it. Now you are the body of Christ and individual members of it." My name is Jeffrey Ziambo, and thanks for watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. Bye-bye.